they're mixing the clay, the 3 clays, and it's life and death, of course. You can't muck about. You've got to mix the clay so well, with no air bubbles and no stone. Oh, another stone. Pick it up with your toe. Right, chuck it out the window. There we are. And now we've done that for perhaps an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, or whatever. And I might stick my head round the door and I'll say, right, how many pots have are you doing today? And the pot man, who actually comes in to do the pots, because he travels and does different people's pots, I might say, I want 100. How many have you done? And he said, well, I've got enough clay here for about 90. He said, well, get some more from outside and do some more. So we'll have to do some more clay. And keep going around like this. And every time you get a little stone, you have to put it out the window, because we don't want anything in our lovely pots. Did you see my lovely pots up there? You did, you. Anyway, listen. So you stay there. Oh, by the way, you probably know the dam is behind us now. There's a constant problem here. Eddie might say more about it, but you know, at this age, this was built a bit later than the older bits. This is the only, I think there's one in Sweden where you can see the system of the crucible, but there's nothing else in the world where you can see such a complete thing, along with all the different workshops and the hammers and the waterworks and so on. So what we've done is mixed the clay. Can you just, oh thank you. Oh no, has he dropped off? That's my favourite little stick. Thank you very much for picking it up. I didn't realise he'd sticked up. He got dropped off. I'll have to stick him again. Oh, right.
Cowgirl.
Now listen. Oh, you see that big lump of clay down there? Can you pick it up and give it to me, please? Thank you. Right, so he'd take a bit of his clay, and if you could just move out a bit, because I want to use this corner here. You come round and look here, young workers. Mr. Huntsman said you need to make that shape of pot. And if you've had some clay or Play-Doh or whatever, you can make a little pot, can't you? Well, I want to make a big pot. So he said, make a shape that's exactly the shape we want, and it's made out of iron, and it's quite heavy. And it would need to have a false bottom. So that's going to be its bottom. And he said, stick it down in a special place with a little notch like that. Take that lump of clay that you've just given to me, make sure it's the right size for a pot, throw it in there. Now somehow we've got to squeeze it to make a pot. So when you're doing Play-Doh, you can make your own little pot, but you can't make a big one like that. So he says, take this, and you better move back a bit in case I drop it, because it's so heavy. Mr. Huntsman said, make a plug. That's the flask. This is the plug, and it's solid cast iron, and it's a little bit smaller than the flask, so that when I lift that, and I can just do it, and the spike at the bottom is going to go straight into the false bottom there, except I missed it. But he would, oops, there it is. And you can imagine that clay is beginning to squeeze up. But the weight of the plug won't squeeze it all up, so we need a big strong lad with a hammer. Now, his little hammer here would just about, do you want to help me? No, okay, right, it's alright. So what we need to do with the maul, M-A-U-L, they've got all their names for this bit, is quite simply hammer away until the clay is seen to come up. And of course this has to be exactly even, and you know, you can't make mistakes, it's life and death. So we've got the perfect pot inside there, but we can't, how do we get it out? It's stuck in there. I've greased everything, or should I say he has, because I've got cellar lads making the fires and doing all the dirty little jobs, and they're learning, and they're only 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. So, out it comes, up it comes, but how do we get it out? We have to have a spike in the floor that hits the false bottom, and if I'm very, very careful, and I've greased everything, can you see that perfect pot there? It's perfect. Well done, you helped me make it. It's a perfect pot, and he checks to see that it's dead even and there's no bits or holes or air bubbles in it, because it's going to go in a furnace that's so hot that it has to be perfect. So we've made our pot. And imagine the pot man here, he's making lots of them, and then you, if you're big enough, you have to put them on the shelves, every little bit, because they have to dry out. If you have a pot, a wet clay pot, it'll take a fortnight to dry out. But the cellar lads have already lit the fires. So there's a bed of kindling wood, and on top of that, the other part of Huntsman's secret is that he realised that across in Coalbrookdale, Abraham Dombey, at Iron Bridge, those of you might have been there, the first bridge actually made in the world made out of cast iron, he'd also discovered that if you burnt coal half the way through, it was nice in your half, but it didn't burn hot enough. But if you turned it into coke, you burnt off the low temperature part of coal and gas or whatever, and you're left with a very important coke.